Welcome, guys, to Good News with Theo and Rozena.
Hi,
It's
guys.
good to be back after a short break, but we felt we have to continue this journey, and we're going to come with weekly content in a podcast form where we are going to talk about marriages. There's not enough talk about marriages and how marriages can, instead of enduring marriages, you can enjoy your marriages. And that's our discussion today. But the topic today that we felt that we need to talk about is posing the question, why is it hard that couples do not communicate properly? So that's our topic. We'd love you to engage with us in the comment section. Put down your ideas, put down your opinions, and maybe we can learn something. We know we can learn from our community. So, Rozena, why do you think, and we will get a bit vulnerable because we want to share as much of the experiences, because I think there's a lack of not transparency, but authenticity when it comes to marriages and dealing with certain issues that society kind of just brushes over, and no one wants to kind of, like they say, hang their washing, or what did they say?
Yeah,
what's
on the
the
line.
phrase?
I'm not too sure about that phrase.
But you know what I'm talking about. So the questions posed, Rozena, why is it hard that couples don't communicate properly?
Well, I think first we have to get to the point of, like, I'll speak on behalf of from a wife's perspective,
Yeah.
and you'll share from a husband's
Yeah.
perspective.
But we're not going to get too personal, okay?
No, we won't
Okay,
get too
please.
personal. But it's also good to share out there, because there's many couples that don't like to talk about communication because it's a kind of a sore topic, you
Yeah.
know. But for me personally, I think the communication barrier is sometimes a bit wobbly, because maybe, for example, it could be that the way your partner maybe responded in the first place when you did bring up a certain topic that needs to be communicated, and hence it's a bit more difficult for you now to kind of raise points or speak about certain things relating to whatever issue it is you want to communicate. So I think it's very important that we sometimes don't just, go at each other if it's in a heated moment, or sometimes just give each other some space to think about what we are actually wanting to communicate or talk about, and then get back to the actual main topic. So that is one reason why I think communication is tough, because the way we respond to whatever the topic, whatever the point is that we want to communicate to our partner.
So you're saying it's the fear of the reaction.
Yes.
And I mean, you spot on. And I think because we are not really equipped as couples to properly communicate, we kind of all over the place. And because of the fear, we don't address the topic.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I think that's so true. And I think there's two lenses that we can view communication through. I think the one lens is, especially in marriages, we only do and we only replicate and kind of mimic what our parents communicated with each other.
Yeah.
And this is based on the latest neuroscience research, where they say that by the age of 7, you have learned most about the world by watching your parents.
Yeah.
So when we grew up, we looked at our parents, and it's sad to say that in our society, we live in a society where it's mostly single parent homes, and children growing up in that environments. And I must say, hats off to the single moms and even the single dads that does a phenomenal job with the resources they have. But it's critical for us to understand that children watches us most of the time, and as they watch us deal with our marital issues or our relational issues, they go out and mimic, because it gets hardwired in the child's mind, and now they think that this is how you deal with conflict. This is how you deal with your spouse.
Absolutely.
And I think for us to try to correct it at the age of 35 or 45 or even 55, there's some couples that are married for long, but they still have communication issues. It's just scary. I know of people that, that's married for years, but it's like they tiptoe on certain issues because of that reaction.
Exactly.
So I think that's the one lens. And the other lens, I think, when we talk about communication, I think growing up in church through the lenses of religion, we were always taught, either to pray about it, not really deal with it, go pray, bring it to the Lord in prayer, and God will sort out your marriage and things will work out. And I think there's an element of truth in that. But what I came to realize, praying is good, but dealing with the issue in a proper way is even greater. And I think God gives us kind of wisdom if we pray. Would you agree with me?
Yeah.
And He also guide us. But we can't just depend on prayer alone. God empowers us now to deal amicably with the issues at hand.
Yes, and also to take action.
Yeah.
Because many couples think that marriage counseling is only for when there's an issue, when
So
there's
true.
a deep problem, where you really now just can't live with each other anymore. And no, marriage counseling is actually a tool that should be used. Like Theo always referred to it as, you take your car regularly for a service for it to work properly.
Some of us.
You go to the doctor to have a checkup to make sure your body is healthy.
Some of us.
And so we should regularly have counseling sessions within our marriage, and have these sessions or retreats, or go on some marriage seminar for the weekend, or just to equip ourselves, because we always have to learn. And like Theo rightfully says, that we only bring to the party or to the marriage what we've seen and the environment we grew up in. And so we think that is normal because that was normal for us, normality for us. So hence me saying that we constantly need to grow in this area. And how are we going to grow? It's either through going through materials like DVDs, books, and resources that will kind of equip us and kind of mature us and grow us in this area where we're lacking in our marriage. And even if we're not lacking, we can only become better at it. So it's very important that we do invest in our marriages. We invest in everything else, but we don't invest in our marriages. And marriages are important because we are setting the tone for our children. And our children are the future. They're the future society, the future generations to come. And how are we building that? And we need to make sure as parents, we need to make sure as husband and wife, that we are setting the right example, the right environment for our kids, because they are going to go out and do exactly what we did.
I think also and I'm maybe going to tramp on some toes of men, because there's kind of an excuse that we give that men don't really talk, and I think that is a huge myth.
Exactly.
Men can talk. Men are probably one of the best communicators, because in our workplace we engage with most of our men in the workplace. We either stand up for our brothers, and we are advocates, or we kind of shop stewards, and we are always fighting against the bosses.
And they can also gossip very nicely, eh?
I wouldn't call it gossip. I would call it engaging. But true, men can gossip.
They gossip worse than women, I think.
But we're getting off the topic. But this notion that men does not communicate, it's a lie. It's an excuse. And I think as men, we hide behind that excuse, because, when it comes, as I said, the workplace, we are engaging with our buddies and with our work colleagues. When it comes to football, we are we have great banter with our rivals. When it comes to certain societal issues, we engage within the community context. If it's politics, if it's, various other subjects, we communicate. But when it comes to marriage, it seems as if, it's either we don't have an interest, or it's almost like we give up, because we feel the wife is going to win the argument. And sometimes, it's like we think mentally, oh, this is a losing battle. I'll rather just, keep my mouth and don't even bother or, engage further.
But that's just it, Theo.
Yeah.
That's just it. We as women don't want it to be an argument where, well, some women don't want it to be an argument where we win the argument. It's more about clarifying the main issue that we are actually tackling now in this communication. And sometimes we need to, the environment that we're in daily in our homes, that is maybe not a conducive place to kind of communicate about the issues, because the issues is about the place either, or it's within that place or that environment. So therefore it's important to go out, even if just for a cup of coffee or a walk somewhere, and go and sit in the park and just, when the mood is right and the tone is set for you to just kind of bring up the topic now, because no one is upset, no one is anxious, no one is kind of scared to talk about it, because now you're in a nice frame of mind, a nice state of mind where you can now relax and just gently bring up the topic and then gently ease into it. But I guess it's obviously depends on the couple itself. What works for you.
Yeah, but I think a good starting point is the environment.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can bring up an issue or a topic in the wrong environment, and the environment itself is not conducive because it's maybe your bedroom, or maybe it's the kitchen, and there's other people, so I really want to encourage men and couples and the men and wives to really be intentional about setting out certain times or a date, or even if it's just a coffee date or just going out for a drive or whatever it is, but be intentional so that you can really engage with each other in a different environment, and that environment will help you to be more relaxed and engage with each other with regards to issues of life, be it finances. We know finances is one of the biggest causes of marriages, giving up and breaking up, and marriage and sex, and we don't talk about it. When last have you scrolled on social media and heard anybody talking about how to deal with sex within marriage, or how to deal with finances in marriage? And I think it's kind of taboo topics because everybody's struggling with it.
Yeah.
So no one wants to talk about it because they themselves struggling with it. And I think, why not start the conversation, and why not help those with a little bit of experience we've gained? We're married now for going for 19 years, and there were times in our marriages where we thought this was it. We really want to be honest. And once again, money, once again, communication was key. And I think if we don't get it right in our generation, like my wife says, our kids are just going to perpetuate and mimic what we've been doing, and that becomes now the generational curse, we say. But it's not really a curse. It's something that we are bringing upon our own selves.
Yes.
And I think it's important that we, even if we just start the conversation, with regards to married couples improving their communication, and go and seek help. Like my wife says, there's resources, but you have to pick up your behind and do something.
Absolutely.
And I think we don't really value, and maybe I'm judging a bit, but please hear my heart. I'm not judging or condemning you. I'm talking from experience, because we don't really value empowering ourselves with tools for marriages. Like you said, now a car has to go for a service. And when we hear about marriage counseling, it's like alarm bells. What are people going to think, and what are people going to... And that's how men are wired. That's why we don't want to be part of marriage counseling, because of, I think it's a pride issue. But
and I think it's more men are scared to open up.
Yeah.
They don't want to let other people know their business.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a reflection on your ego, So that's a huge thing for men. So just bear in mind that it's not just you, it's your partner as well. And it's not just you and your partner. If there's kids involved, it's the kids as well.
Yeah.
Because it does affect them.
Yeah.
And we think kids don't notice things. They
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
They really do. I'm speaking of experience where the kids come and say, what's wrong? Is anything wrong? Mommy, do you still love daddy? Daddy, do you still love mommy? But and I think the more we learn to communicate with each other and the more we do it, it becomes so natural for you to now address the issue and then set aside some time. Let's communicate. Let's talk about this. Let's see where we're at, And that's also where it comes in, where if you as a couple have a vision and you've set goals, regularly we have to talk about that vision. We have to talk about the goals that we are setting to see where we're at and communicate about what has been the issues. There's so many things we need to communicate with regarding our marriage, regarding our family, regarding where we're going to, what are the plans, So we have to get that stumbling block of not communicating or struggling with communicating or not getting the message across properly, because usually that is also an issue, not just not communicating, but also the way we communicate and how we communicate. So
and the tone.
And the tone is very important. That I've learned. The tone is very important.
And there's a scripture in the Bible that says it's better for a man to live on a roof than with a nagging wife. That's in the Bible.
Just do what you need to do, and then you won't have a nagging wife.
So when you speak about tone, I think as a man, and maybe the men will say amen with me, I think the nagging voice comes from a good place. But you see, the nagging voice has a certain tone, and I think it's not so much what you say, is the way you're saying it.
Yes.
And I think that kind of repels men and from really engaging, because it's almost like, oh, here we go again, and here we
and men don't like to be told. They really don't like to be told, because they are the ones always doing the telling.
Listen, Creflo Dollar said something so powerful a couple of years ago. He said that why is it that men will spend hundreds of dollars to go to a conference only to hear what their wives has been nagging about for a long time? They could get the advice for free, but just because, and you're rightfully saying, that men sometimes, when you hear it from a different voice, or from a man, or from an outside source, you kind of hear the message. But our wives can be telling us things, and they are spot on. I can admit half of my troubles and half of my problems that I've encountered in my life, if I had to just listen to my wife with the advice she has given, pertaining business, pertaining friendships, pertaining, finances, we could have avoided a lot of mess. So I know the woman is going crazy now and say, yeah, preach it, Theo, preach it. But I would really want to encourage our men that our wives has a wealth of wisdom. God has really blessed us with, the Bible says,
give you a helper.
He will give us a helper. And I think the word helper is such a profound word, because we can't do it on our own, and we're not supposed to be doing it on our own.
And helper, not just in the sense of picking up your clothes behind you, ironing your clothes, cooking for you, and making sure the house is clean for you. No, helper in every area of your life. Because we are joined together. We have a covenant together. We do things together. So we are one. We are building together. That is the main thing we need to keep in mind, that we are doing things together because we are building together. So that is just one point I wanted to bring across.
And I think the starting point for, maybe there's couples watching, or maybe it's a wife or husband watching, the starting point for you to start the communication, if you want to have a starting point, is really to ask the question, what's the mission? What's our mission? What's our vision of our family? And start grabbing a piece of page or a notebook, and start writing together the mission or the vision for your family. What's the vision for your finances? Where would you like to be in 10 years with regards to your finances, with regards to your kids, the education, with regards to investments, with regards to your sex life, with regards to key areas of your life. And now you're putting a roadmap for you guys to engage, to touch base and say, okay, how far are we on the road to our mission and our vision? And that is where, when you talk about helper, that's the key part where we become one and help one another towards. We have a mission, we have a goal. It's not your goal and your finances, or my goal and my finances. We change our language and we say it's our goal, it's our finances, it's our kids, it's our future. And that oneness, that language has such a powerful, a powerful force behind it, because it's not anymore individualistic. It's not more feministic, It's not more in isolation of what we want to achieve as a family. And I think that is missing in society. It's all about if I don't feel happy in the marriage, I'm getting out of here. And I have to really encourage women and men. I know it's tough, Rozena. There's marriages that are going through tough times, and we acknowledge, because we in that ministry and we engage almost on a daily basis with couples and with people that wants to throw in the towel. So I understand what the severity of some of our marriages that are going through, tough times. But it's imperative that we have to think bigger than ourselves. We have to think larger than ourselves. We have to start thinking about the future of our kids, the future of our grandkids, and whatever we do now has a profound ripple effect on the future generation. So I know sometimes when we feel unhappy, we want to make decisions, but I think it's a T.D. Jakes that says, don't make permanent decisions in temporary situations, and you might say, Theo, but it's been 3 years now, it's not a temporary situation. Well, in the greater scheme of things, 3 years versus 30 years, is putting context. And I think God's plan for marriages is a beautiful plan. And we see the effects in society currently now, where the effect on marriage, and the data and the research suggests that even if you're in an unhappy marriage, the kids are going through the same trauma that divorce couples' kids are going through. And isn't that startling? The kids are experiencing the same emotion and same trauma, and they say by the age of 18 they will be on some substance to numb them from the pain and from the sadness and from the depression that they are experiencing, because mommy and daddy is searching for happiness on their own. And I think that's just a bit unfair, and it's just a bit kind of selfish. And like I said, with all due respect, I know you're going through a tough time, but I think we have to start broadening our horizon and the way we view our family and our marriages.
Absolutely. And I think the next topic, we will continue on communication, because communication we cannot only use for one video. We have to continue with this, and maybe we'll give some more detail to how we can overcome the struggles of communication within marriage.
Yeah. And I want to encourage you, don't send this video to your husband or to your spouse. Say, listen what Theo said. No. You need to empower you that's watching right now. This is for you. Start empowering yourself and start equipping yourself with these tools and applying some of these things. And you will eventually see, as you will replicate or take the action in your marriage, you will start seeing the transformation taking place. But the fatal mistake we do is we point fingers. And I think sometimes we have to say, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to get myself right, empower myself. And I'm going to trust God, and I'm going to trust that whatever I've empowered myself, it will start transforming my marriage. I want to be the one that wants to take the first step. And we want you to also share this video on your timeline or with friends and family. But understand that this is all about making marriages great again and putting back the belief that marriages can work. We are testimony that marriages can work. So we love you and thank you for watching and thank you for spending some time with us. Anything you want to say lastly? Are you good?
I think we're good.